the RCSD has just decreed that if we're outside, you don't need masks. So if you are comfortable with that, you do not want to wear a mask outside, you do not have to. So just so you know, hence why I'm not. So just so you know. All right, so thank you so much for being here today. Again, if you want to sit in your car, if that's a little bit more comfortable, you can do that. I just didn't want to sit in the auditorium. It's 1,000 degrees in there, and I figured this was a little bit safer and more comfortable for everybody. So again, you are invited to sit in your car if you would like to. Good morning, my name is Miss Fox. Good afternoon, actually. For those of you who may or may not know, I am the co-director of the Pride of Rochester Marching Band. This is my other co-director, Mr. Weber. Somewhere around here is the rest of our staff. You can see them listed below: Mr. Dennis, Mr. Yeager, Mr. Vona, Mr. Carver, Miss Gaudioso, and Miss Schultz. They are our additional staff. There's Mr. Dennis, and thank you. And I'll introduce them next week at the picnic. But really quickly, I just wanted to go over our handbook for next year, and as well as our calendar, our summer calendar, and then our participation contract. And I'll explain kind of why we are doing these things and what they constitute and all that good stuff. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you bringing your kids here every Saturday, and for trusting us to provide them with a quality education. So thank you so much. Thank you. I sincerely, I just went on a whole spiel. They could spend their 9 to 12 on a Saturday anywhere. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of us here. I appreciate that so much. So as far as participation goes, and I know you can all read, but I'm just going to go through this just to make sure that everybody is clear. All members are expected to participate in all Pride of Rochester Marching Band functions. These include rehearsals, performances, trips, hopefully, and other full band activities. All students are expected to attend all rehearsals, and all performances are mandatory. Students are expected to adjust their schedules in order to attend the regularly scheduled rehearsals and performances. This is kind of the big part. We understand, we're very flexible. Games happen. I know some of us have games, work commitments. We've had stuff already this season. Things happen. Just communicate with us. Just as long as we know what's going on, it's really not an issue at all. We just need to know what's going on, and the best way to do that is to email us what's going on. So please, if you're able to, ahead of time. Obviously, emergencies, not ideal. You probably can't email us ahead of time, but please email the Pride of Rochester at RCSD121 if you're unable to attend rehearsal. If we are not contacted prior to rehearsal that you will be absent, your absence is considered unexcused, okay? We just need to know. Things come up, life, we're basically a lot of Saturdays throughout the school year. Things come up, appointments happen, all that stuff. We just need to know what's going on, all right? And generally, we're really good about letting us know what's going on, but that's not always the case, so we just want to make sure we're very clear moving forward. So the following chart illustrates the acceptance level of given reasons for being absent. Of course, acceptable: illness, family emergencies, bereavement, loss, family loss, religion, and prior approved school functions. Of course, school always comes first. We are an extracurricular, so anything school related is of course first. We said that work is not acceptable, but as long as we know ahead of time and we can make those arrangements, I'm fine with it. Non-school sport, I know that we've had Little League stuff conflict in the past. Again, as long as we know. Homework, no. Manage your time, right? Do your homework at some other point. Babysitting, sometimes emergencies come up. Mom and dad gotta go somewhere. You have to babysit. I understand. Well, just communicate to us ahead of time. No ride. And I know, so if you look at our summer schedule, I know some of you have communicated to me that there are times that you are going to need a ride. We can figure that out ahead of time. We really want to help you guys be able to get here when you can. So as long as we can, help figure out a ride situation, and we have bus passes here as well. No ride shouldn't be an excuse, unless obviously emergencies happen, things like that. Hobbies, birthday parties, no. I miss my own birthday sometimes, not really, but you push it to later. We're 9 to noon, make your birthday later in the day, just plan ahead. All right, so we are going to do a fall celebration this year. We did not do this recently. This is new. We did do Altitude several years ago, but this time we're going to do something similar to that with an attendance incentive. So in order to attend our fall celebration at the end of the fall season, which will be after October, students are allowed one excused absence. So basically that means you don't tell us, it's like a no show, no call one time. So if you miss a rehearsal but you tell us ahead of time, okay, that's not an unexcused absence. It's just the no call, no show. If you have one of those, fine. After that, then you don't get to go. That's all right? You don't get to go to the fall celebration. So just to make that clear. Are there any questions on that policy? Okay, cool. After 3 unexcused absences, your student will be removed from the program and their equipment will need to be returned. Generally the folks here, I don't have that problem, but I just, we do have a problem in this organization with this, particularly in the past couple of years, with, especially in the COVID, not remote situation, we've had a lot of truancy. So we're trying to put it in writing and putting it in a participation contract in writing, trying to alleviate the situation, because we've been chasing down a lot of equipment lately, and so we're trying to avoid this. So I know I'm preaching mostly to the choir here, but just to make sure that everybody is clear up front before our fall season starts. After 3 unexcused absences, which again is 3 times that we don't know ahead of time what's going on, your student will be removed from the program, which simply means come back for a winter season. It doesn't mean you're gone forever. Just come back for the winter, all right? We'll try again in the winter season. So go ahead and flip the page. All right. A lot of this is stating the obvious, but just so it's in writing. Rehearsals are held at Marshall High School on Saturday mornings from 9 to noon. This will never change. We generally do our rehearsals on Saturday mornings. Students are expected to report to rehearsal 8:40 to 8:55, just to make sure that everything's ready to go. Equipment is set up ahead of time. It says rehearsals may also be on a scheduled weekday. Obviously this summer, yes, summer tendencies, we have band camp over the summer. Summer, yes, but during the school year, no, we do not do weeknights on during the school year because there's just way too many sports conflicts. So if there is a change in rehearsal date or time, students will be notified at least 1 week prior to the change. Performance days will vary depending on available opportunities, okay? And we notify you as soon as we can with those through our communication systems, which I will go through a little bit later. Seasons, we are breaking up our season into 3 seasons. We have our summer and fall season, which we're about to start in July. In addition to marching the Cary Fest and Puerto Rican Festival parades, which I believe are not happening at this point. Cary Fest is definitely not happening. We are still waiting to hear about the Puerto Rican Festival parade. At this point, I would assume that it's not happening. I'm still waiting to hear about the festival, still waiting to hear about the parade. But Cary Fest is definitely not happening, sadly. Very sad, really sad we're not doing any of these events this summer. But the summer and fall are spent learning and refining our fall field show, which will be performed on a football field in various football games and field band shows. We currently have 2 shows scheduled for our fall season, which is very exciting. We're finally coming back to a performing season in the fall. The Hilton Home Show, which will take place Saturday, September 18th. The day is tentatively scheduled from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That might be changed to a 1 o'clock start, depending on once we get those final details from Hilton of when our performance time is. That time may change, but I wanted to just give you a warning to block off that day because that might change. The next performance that we have is Corning Bandtoberfest. This will be our last show of the season. This is Saturday, October 23rd and this is 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Again, the start time might be later. It depends on when our performance time is, but I just wanted to let you know now to kind of block off the day. We will do a couple RCSD football games. Those generally take place on Saturdays around 1 or 2 o'clock. So we might have a Saturday day go a little bit longer to like 3, 4, or 5 o'clock, depending what time the game starts. I don't have that schedule available yet, so as soon as I know that information, I will communicate that to you. Other performances, sometimes we get asked to do something because it's kind of neat. After doing this for 6 years, word of mouth has traveled and people ask us to do things. Sometimes we're available, sometimes we're not. Performances might come up, so as soon as we talk about it and decide that it's something that we think the kids would benefit from, then we let you know that information and do it as soon as we possibly can. Especially when RCSD asks us to do something, that's generally something we do. Yeah. So our next season is winter. Winter is a pretty short season. It's November to December. It's basically our caroling tour. We go on a little caroling tour in December. And we basically, from November to December, we learn Christmas carols. And then in December, we go to like a bunch of businesses and a bunch of events in the area on one day. And we play a bunch of different winter songs and kind of brighten everybody's day. It's a nice little fun day to just kind of go around and freeze and have a fun time. So that's our winter season. It's kind of a nice time to recruit because it's very like low investment. You just kind of show up and play, and so it's a nice time to recruit people when we need to. The next season is kind of a longer season, which is the one that we're currently in. Our spring season goes from January to June. This is where we start to learn our parade songs and we learn how to march. And then we get ready for our first parade, which is St. Patrick's Day in March. And then that kind of takes us through to Lilac Fest in May. And then from May and June, we're just kind of doing parades like crazy. I'm hoping next year that we're able to go to either Darien Lake or Hershey Park, depending on fundraising and whether the RCSD allows us to go on a field trip next year. I know that as of like March 2020, they had said that we were not allowed to go on trips, and then COVID happened. So I don't know where we're at with that, but I will do everything in my power to push that we are able to do that, because I think that's extremely important and it's a fun time. So why wouldn't we go? So in addition to that, we do the Memorial Day Parade, we do the Square Fair Parade, we do the Juneteenth Parade, which would have been next weekend, sadly. It's one of my favorite parades, I love it. And then our spring season ends with our picnic banquet and awards ceremony, which we're doing like a modified version of that next week. So that's basically the breakdown of our 3 seasons. The spring one's kind of a long one, but it's kind of a long push because we have that St. Patrick's Day, and then May and June are just crazy. Does anybody have any questions so far on all the craziness? Okay, cool. And if you do, oh yes. Yes, correct. Yes, thank you so much. For Corning and for Hilton, we will start here because we'll rehearse for a few hours. Thank you so much for bringing that up. We'll rehearse here for a few hours, and then we will get on a bus, and we'll get dressed in our uniforms and take a bus over to Hilton, and then we'll take, for Corning, we'll take a bus over to Corning and perform, and then come back. That's a great question. Yeah, we'll meet here first. And generally, we meet here for all events. Except for this summer's event, we're probably going to meet at the stadium. But I'll get into that in a little bit. So that's a great question. Thank you so much. Rehearsal attire, just to keep everybody safe. Everyone's been very good about this year. Socks and sneakers, all right? We don't want any sandals because we want to keep everybody safe. We want to keep everyone's feet safe. Comfortable clothing, no jeans, all right? It's not really comfortable. And no gum because we don't want anybody to get, anybody to choke or anything like that. Cell phones. We have seen some cell phones during rehearsal. We just ask that, obviously, on breaks, completely fine. But just, during rehearsal, we've had people kind of step out to take a phone call. I don't appreciate that because, we're trying to give instruction, we've got things going on, and then, you miss the instruction that you're being given. So I would ask that cell phones are away except for breaks. If this habit continues, then we're going to have to start addressing it with the parents. So just, if you could speak with your peeps about having your phones out during rehearsal. That's a no, except for breaks. All right, so please keep that in mind, students. All right, uniforms. Students are provided with a uniform at no cost. That's one of the big questions I get when someone's joining. There's no cost to join this, which is great. The district bought us brand new uniforms a few years ago in 2017. Some of them are still brand new. Some of them haven't been worn yet, which is amazing. The only thing that the students have to provide is what they wear underneath the uniform. We provide them with a dry fit shirt that's it's got our name, our logo on it, so everybody looks the same when they wear just the pants. But they basically have to wear some sort of short, like a gym short, girls can wear a legging underneath or a gym short type thing. And then everyone has to wear long black socks, sometimes the marching pants that we wear, we try and keep them ankle length, but sometimes, you know, kids grow over time and they get a little bit short. So always, like half length socks, black socks, always. So please, whenever we have a performance, that Hilton day, that Corning day, students will be wearing uniforms and they need to have long black socks for those performances. But we provide the shoes, we provide the uniform, we provide the gloves, we provide the hat, okay, and the little plume that goes in it too. The uniform stays here, right? The students do not take them home. They come dressed to go into the uniform. They get dressed upstairs. We have like a whole area where they put on the uniforms. And then at the end of the night, they take their uniform, they hang it back up, and then they put it back on the rack. And then after every season, we have them dry cleaned. So like after the fall season, we have them dry cleaned, and then after the winter season, we have them dry cleaned, and then after the spring season, we have them dry cleaned. All right, so that's why we have them, you know, wear clothing underneath to preserve them, and then they have them dry cleaned after every season. So, uniforms, provide, color guard instrumentalists provide their own black socks. Yes, it is your responsibility to hang up your uniform properly after each use. That is a big thing. Some of our students are still learning uniform responsibility, but we will teach you all that. Hair should be pulled back and tucked under the hat. I know longer hairstyles can be tucked in the back of the jacket. I know sometimes the braids are hard to get under the hat. You can tuck them, you know, into the back of your jacket. Shoes must be clean and polished. We help with that. We got wipes and all that stuff. And hats, everything's got their own place. Every uniform comes with a bag that gets hung up in a certain spot on the rack in numerical order. And the hats, everybody has their own hat and shoe cubby for you know, the winds and for the battery. That's got their name on it, so the hat goes back in the spot and the shoes go back in the spot. They don't stay in the bag because then the uniform can get ruined, so everything's got their own little spot. It's the student's direct responsibility to properly take care of their uniform. Okay, it's their responsibility. We are not responsible. You fold it, you take care of it, you put it back on the rack. And if we have to take care of it at the end of the night, we're not very happy. So please, always take care of your uniform, okay? Color guard, we have uniforms for you as well. They're different from what the band wears. For some performances, we have a Pride of Rochester tunic with a pair of like black jazz pants. And then for our fall show, we also order like a special uniform just for the fall show. So just so you know, and you have a uniform, like a guard bag, garment bag for your guard uniform, that you have your own special guard rack where everything goes. So that it's like your own little special section. And there's also special dance shoes that we purchase for you, as well as guard gloves. So you guys have all the same stuff, but in your own little area. It's cool. All right, so equipment, and this, you know, refers to uniforms as well as like, you know, any sort of RCSD issued equipment. So anybody who's using a district instrument, you know, my battery, my color guard that's using flags and, flags right now, and, you know, anybody who's using like a district instrument at all. All members will be provided with a uniform as well as equipment. After 3 unexcused absences, you will be removed from the program and will be responsible for returning all equipment back to the Pride of Rochester Marching Band. Again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but just to make sure that we're all clear on that. All equipment and instruments are the responsibility of the performer. You should never assume that someone else will care for your equipment or instrument. The quality of your performance is directly related to the care and preparation of your instrument or equipment. So take care of your stuff, okay? We don't let our flags drag on the ground, right? We don't let our battery just kind of get strewn all over the place, all right? We make sure our stuff looks nice and neat. We fold our uniforms a certain way. Sometimes we don't wear the jackets, so we fold them up neatly. We don't just ball them up and throw them on the ground. Everything gets left neatly. We want it to look the same, okay? You have to treat everything nicely because we want to preserve it. We want it to last for a very long time, okay? So always treat your stuff with respect. Students with school-owned instruments must maintain and take care of the instruments to the best of their ability. Throughout the life of these instruments, they will suffer normal wear and tear, completely normal. Students, parents will be financially responsible for damage due to neglect of a school instrument up to the replacement cost, which is specified on the bond form that we have. Examples of negligent damage include dents to like an extreme degree, stuck valves, pistons, or slides, extreme scratches, like to an extreme, like there's like some, they get stuck all the time, but like an extreme, you know, extreme level, we'd be like, okay, hang on. Like if it's like the bell's like crunched in like this, it's like, all right, what happened here? But not like a little dent. I've dented my instrument before, it happens. But like, you know, if it got run over by a car, then I'd be like, all right, what happened here? But proper maintenance is essential. All valves and oils should be oiled before rehearsals and performances. This is something that my brass players should keep in mind. Have that stuff done before rehearsal, not during, right? Make sure to check your valves before we start. Be sure to properly put away your instrument after each rehearsal. We've been very good about this lately. We've all been putting our equipment away very, very well. Percussionists, we've actually been pretty spoiled by where we are, but sometimes, especially after a performance, you're gonna have to recase and load your instruments. We've been very lucky where we are that you haven't had to put anything away, so enjoy that. But once we have a gig, you're gonna have to put that equipment away each time. And then percussionists must return their instrument to the percussion storage area after each rehearsal or performance. And again, right now we've been spoiled, which is great. Music and color guard work. Music will be distributed at rehearsals and are available in Google Classroom along with MP3 files, which are the audio files. Color guard work will be taught at rehearsals and videos will be posted in Google Classroom. Students are expected to practice and memorize their music or color guard work. Safety is our primary concern for all of our students. With the element of color guard comes a certain skill level which needs to be obtained in order to minimize the chance of injury. We want this to be a positive experience. So we keep everyone spaced out, but like if you don't know your work, someone could get hurt, all right? So you really, really, really have to make sure that you know your color guard work really well. So you gotta spend time, you know, learning it as much as you can. You gotta get it memorized as quickly as you can. All right, next thing down. Communication. We communicate rehearsals, rehearsal dates and times the following ways in Google Classroom for our RCSD students. For your parents, we have a remind system. There's a way to text, or there's a link that I can share with you. It's in our Facebook page, or it's in the cut time emails that we send out. We have a private Facebook group. I keep moving, I'm sorry. We have a private Facebook group. Just search Pride of Rochester member group. We put all our announcements in there. We have a public Facebook page, and we've just been putting like our basic rehearsal announcements in there, as well as our Instagram and our Twitter. We also have a cut time email system, which is once we get an application, we put it in the system, and that we send an email out that way as well that kind of announces the same exact things that we put in Remind, as well as our private Facebook group, okay? Last thing down, parent guardian expectations. So as I stated before, parent guardians will notify us of any absences with as much advance notice as possible. Again, I understand emergencies happen, so if you can just let us know whenever you can after an emergency. You know, I understand they happen, but just let us know when you can. You know, parents, guardians will drop their children off at the designated drop-off time and pick up at the designated pickup time. You guys have been incredible with that this year, so thank you. We do have to put this in there because we've had issues, you know, in the past. But you guys have been absolutely incredible this year, so please keep it up. Just notify us if a phone number changes. Sometimes it happens, just let us know. And parents, guardians will make sure a ride is arranged. We're not allowed to drive kiddos. We've had people ask if we can drive kiddos home. We can't do that. Our supervisor said that we're not allowed to. So, you know, if a kiddo can't get home, please help them find a ride, because we're not allowed to do that anymore. All right? Oh, I need some water. Does anybody have any questions on anything in the handbook? And if you do, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it in front of everybody, I'll be here. We'll be here. We'll be around. Mr. Weber and I are both, you know, we've been doing this since 2014, so we can answer any questions that you have. Yeah, go ahead.
So, hi. So one of the biggest issues that we run into, and this is something that we've experienced over the last 5-6 years, communication. We're trying to make sure that we communicate everything in a variety of ways so that there are no excuses when people say, oh, I didn't know there was rehearsal, I didn't know where I was supposed to be. Our goal is to make sure that we're giving you the information in a timely fashion. But if you ever experience something where you're not sure of the details, or you don't know where to go, or you don't know who to contact, please check all of our social media, check our website. We try to keep that updated on a monthly basis. Definitely, any questions, you can email us. And the Remind system, I know a lot of you have been taking advantage of that. Sometimes it is stressful staying on top of all of the different forms of social media and communication that we have. We're really trying to make sure that we're reaching everyone. So if you're finding that you're not getting the information, please send us an email and let us know what the best form of contact is. But ultimately, what we want to try to avoid is people not communicating back with us. So we'll put the information up on the website, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Remind, the cut time emails. But then when we don't hear back, that's when we get sort of stressed out, and what happens over time is students stop showing up. If you find that your child wanted to be here and try it out, and they enjoyed their time in marching band, but it's not something that they want to continue doing in the long run, you don't have to just stop showing up. You can communicate with us and be comfortable with that, but just know that we want you to be part of this program, and we want you to communicate with us on details, things that are going on, any of that stuff, okay? We just want people to communicate more with us. That's just my comment.
No, he won't drop the mic because he's a mic guy. Okay, great, thank you. Yes, okay, and again, if you have any questions at all, you can come see me afterwards. So really quick, moving on to the calendar. It's pretty straightforward. We had a question. The calendar is in Google Classroom, okay? And we can also get it up on the Facebook group, all right? So we'll make sure that it is available there as well. And we can also email it in cut time. And we'll try and get it up as many places as we possibly can, but we want to make sure all our bases are covered. But it will definitely be in Google Classroom always and forever. So if you're not sure, like if you're like, oh, I lost my paper copy, we'll have a certain amount of, like, whatever's left behind, we'll have those paper copies available as well. But if we can get, this is in Google Classroom for sure, if you ever need to access it. So just to look really quick, it's pretty straightforward. We had, just because there was a lot of scheduling, a lot of scheduling issues this summer, we've decided to split up this summer as far as sectionals go. So we're gonna have a number of different sectionals at different times. The only thing that I just wanted to make clear is for the month of July, drumline, you have July 9th and July 16th. Those rehearsals are from 9 to 11. Those are they're you choose one or the other. Okay, so you come July 9th from 9 to 11, or you choose July 16th from 9 to 11. Or you could bring them to both. You could bring them to both if you wanted to. It's up to you. But just so you know, you can choose one or the other. However, the ones in August in red, those are all from 9 to 11. So the August 6th, August 20th, and August 27th, just so you know. Excuse me. So WINS, you have rehearsals on Tuesday, July 13th, Tuesday, July 27th. In Color Guard, you guys are basically every Friday from 9 to 11. The reason for that is because, I'm so sorry. Like if you noticed when we did Blinding Lights, the WINS and Battery had finished the song and Guard wasn't there yet, because taking the Guard work takes much, much more time. So just to make sure that the Guard has enough time to learn everything that they need, we're giving them more time over the summer to learn what they need to learn. And just in 2-hour blocks, just a little bit less time, just to make sure that everybody has enough time, but not too much, because sometimes 3 hours can be a little bit like, ugh, by the time you get to hour 3. So it's just a little spurt of time for everybody to kind of learn what they need to learn and go from there. Okay, if you take a look at August, I just wanted to bring a few things to your attention. All right, on August 28th, okay, I was talking about this earlier. There is going to be a drum corps show at Salem Stadium, which is also known as Marina Stadium, whatever the heck it's called now, at 460 Oak Street, the soccer stadium, the football stadium, whatever it is now. White Sabres Drum and Bugle Corps, which 2 of our youngsters are in it, Noah and Jacob Silpy. Matt Yeager, Mr. Yeager, and Miss Gaudioso are also in it. They're all part of the White Sabres Drum and Bugle Corps. They're going to be performing in it. There's going to be a couple other corps performing there, and they asked if the Pride of Rochester was interested in performing. And so I said yes. And so we're going to be, we talked it over, of course, and we all agreed that it would be a great way to kind of to kick off the week before our band camp. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a standstill performance of all of our fall 2021 songs. The show will be announced next week, by the way, so sorry to keep you waiting, but we're going to be playing the 3 songs that we will be playing and spinning, the 3 songs that we will be doing for our fall show. So it was kind of a great way to make sure our music is ready to go for band camp by having a performance like 2 days before our band camp starts. So that show, from what I understand, I know it's at night. I don't have a lot of information right now because it's still in the works. It is at night. It's starting around 7 p.m. So we will probably we're gonna meet at the stadium around 4 or 5 o'clock. Like, this is all tentative, and this will all go out in the communication probably about 2 weeks beforehand to let you know. But we'll meet around 4 or 5 o'clock that day at the stadium. We'll give you guys dry fits to wear, and we'll do a standstill performance of our fall music. All right, and so we'll perform our songs. They'll love us, and then we'll get to watch the rest of the show. All right. Again, I do not have times for this yet, hence why it is TBA, but I do know it will take place in the afternoon, evening. The show should start around 6 or 7 p.m., so we should meet around, sometime in the later afternoon just to rehearse the music really quick together as a group. The following week, August 30th, 31st, September 1st, and September 2nd is when our band camp will take place. When we polled the families, the majority said that they preferred the mornings, which I know does not work for every family, and I apologize, but the majority said 9 to noon was the better option. So we're gonna have band camp the week of August 30th from 9 to noon. It will be right here at Marshall. It'll take place over on the football field, okay? It will be, we'll learn three songs, and we will march shapes, kind of make some shapes on the field to those 3 songs. All right, so those 4 days will be spent putting movement to the music. So that's what we'll spend those 3 hours each day doing. Okay, that's what the goal will be. And then by the end of that week, we'll have the show ready to go, so that by the following week, September 11th, we'll have one rehearsal to kind of tweak everything and make it, polished. And then on September 18th, we'll have another rehearsal that morning, or that day, to polish it again. And then that night, we'll go to Hilton and we'll perform our first show in full uniform at the Hilton Home Show. Okay, in exhibition, we'll perform at the Hilton Home Show. And then after that, in September 25th, you'll see we have another rehearsal. So we'll get that Hilton performance under our feet. We'll see what a real performance is like. For some of you that have never done it before, we'll get our feet wet. Oh, sorry. Well, oh my goodness, nailing it. We'll get our feet wet. We'll see what a performance is like, of that magnitude, because performing with a whole stadium full of people is very different. So it's crazy. And then October 2nd, we'll go back. We'll fix some things we might want to add or change some things. And then we'll have Indigenous Peoples Day weekend off. So on October 9th, we will not have rehearsal. Anytime, like Martin Luther King Day, when we have a Monday off, we always take that weekend off because we like to give you guys a 3-day weekend. We'll have rehearsal on October 16th from 9 to noon, and then on the 23rd will be Bandtoberfest, and that will be our final day. So we'll rehearse that day, we'll go to Corning, we'll perform, and then we'll come back. It'll be late, it'll be like 11 o'clock at night, probably when we'll get back. After that, we like to take the weekend off. That might possibly be the day of our fall get together. We're not sure yet. We're still waiting. We're still working out the details on that. But that's the start of our, that is the end of our fall season. And then our winter season will pick up the week after that, November 6th, and that will be our first new member day, where we'll start recruiting new members for our winter season, okay? So that is our calendar. Are there any questions on our calendar? Yes. There will be no Saturday rehearsals on top of the weekdays in the summer. Thank you so much. Great question.